So this is the size pom that I am going to show you how to make today. So it is a great size, and this is a children's size hat. I love how big the pom is on those. And then this is an adult size hat. So it works perfect for various sized hats as well. So that's it in the black. This is using white. Love this. And this is a gray, which has like a shaggier look to it. Again, still super cute. Hello, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to do make your own large pom-pom tutorial. This is a very much requested tutorial, so I wanted to do my best to get this up and out to you as quickly as possible. It is perfect time of year. It's beanie season, which these are perfect for. I love a large pom-pom on the top of my beanies, and a lot of the ones that you find in the store just do not cut it. And I actually have looked at the stores to see the cost for the similar sized pom-poms, and you're looking at about $15 to $20 per pom-pom for the same size that we're going to make today. So I'm going to share more details on cost of the materials that I use and how many poms I'm able to make with those materials, so you can calculate that out and which is the better way to go. So let's get into it. All right, so these are the materials that you're going to need to make your own poms today. This thread here is upholstery thread. You can also use like a thicker style thread or like embroidery thread, but I do recommend using something that's very strong, because when you are pulling the pom tight, which I'll show you, you need something that can withstand you tugging very hard on it and not breaking. So this is very durable, and I can pull very hard on it without it breaking, which is why I use this. The only other thing that I don't have here that you might like to use or find useful is the buttons or the snaps that you can use for your poms to attach to your hats, just depending on what route you want to take with your hats. If you want them to be removable or not, there's different options there as well. Today, I'm just simply going to show you how to make the pom-pom itself that you could just tie on the hat on its own, and you could choose to add any other details from there. So this is what I have left of my black fur that I bought from my local fabric store. And I think I got a yard of it at a time. I got black, white, and then a gray. And I actually got a discount on it around this time of year last year. So I think that between the three furs, I paid around $30. And I figured I could make, I think it was like 20 pom-poms per color of fur, which is amazing. So the poms I make are 6 by 6 inches, and I picked up this ruler. This is the only thing I could find at the fabric store at the time to measure. So it's literally like 6 inches one way. So I use this to measure the size for my poms. So laying it fur down, you can measure out your 6 by 6. And if you're going to make many at a time, you can do full lines of 6 across all the way down, and then go 6, 6, 6 all the way down. Now, I will give you a tip when you are cutting your fur. A lot of people will use an X-Acto knife, which is quicker and easier, but what happens is you make a straight line in the fur, and that edge is going to be cut off. You're cutting off a lot of fur, whereas I'll show you, if you get just underneath the fur, you can save that fur, so it's going to be a lot fluffier pom in the end without sacrificing any of that fur on any of the edges. Another tip is you can use a Sharpie to draw your lines on the back because you're not going to see it anywhere once it's all tied together and sewn up. So that's a little tip I have for you. And it even worked on this here. So I will show you that. So using my ruler here, we've got 6 across this way. And then we're going to do 6 across so you can't see it a lot maybe in this lighting, but it is visible. And then I'm going to do 6 this way. So you can see my square there for my 6 by 6 inch pom. And again, you can make multiple at a time and draw lines all the way down your fur and then go across and cut up all your squares. So I do have some cut up. So they look like this when they are cut up. And if you notice the edge, there's no blunt. See, if you cut, here's a good example. If you cut with an X-Acto knife, you're going to get that blunt edge. Whereas if you get the right spot, you're still going to have all that fur that hangs off, which I like to have just so that I don't have to worry about any spots. So we've got some pom squares here. I'm going to show you, I'm going to cut that one out as well. But you will make a big mess with this project, so be prepared for that. Lots of fur everywhere. All right. So when you are going to cut, you want to place your scissors, you want to kind of grip right where the lining is that the fur is attached to. So my scissors are not on the outside of the fur. It's going, I'm sneaking my scissors into the fur, gliding right along the edge on the other side. And then I again adjust the tip of my scissors to glide along in there so I'm not going to cut much of my fur. I just kind of keep adjusting as I go. Now, if this takes too long for you and you're not too concerned, you can definitely use an X-Acto knife to just quickly cut your squares out. This does all cinch up at the end, which I will show you. So you would probably be fine, but I just like to reduce even the mess that I make of fur, if possible. Okay, so as you can see, this was the edge that I cut. So see how the fur is all still coming out there. It's not blunt cut off. And same thing when I want to cut the next one, I haven't cut any of that off as well. So next we're going to use this tool. It's a rotary cutter. Depending on your fur, you may not really need to use this, but I use this blade and I go around all of my edges. And what it does is it puts little slit holes all along, and that's where I'm going to feed my needle through. So some of them are so thick that to just take your needle through on its own would be very difficult. So this helps you to make those holes for you. This one here, I can actually just take my needle through pretty easily, and I don't need this, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I am going to show you that. I'm just going to place this underneath so I don't go into my counter here. So just right along the edge, you can hear it pierce those little holes in. And I go around all four sides. Just like that. Now, I don't think you'll be able to see it in the video, the little holes that have been made. But they're there. And if you use good lighting, and as you make these, you'll get a feel of how often those holes are there and whatnot. So let's get to the next part. So I've got my needle. This is just like a regular needle. One of the ones with a slightly bigger hole, so it's not super tiny. Decent sized, but whatever works for you on that. And I always like to make sure that I have more than enough thread versus not enough. So I just start at one corner here, and I just go in and out all the way around. And if you need to, you can use, if it's really tough, you could use something like pliers to pull your needle through at times, but not necessarily needed. You can just do it a little bit more often, and then you might not need those. Again, it depends on how tough the lining of the fur is. And I'm just going to keep going all the way around and back to that starting point there. All right, so I am back at the starting point. So I started here, went all the way around, and I am back here. I'm just going to cut my needle off here. Make sure your ends don't go back into the piece. So now I've got my two ends here, and you're just going to pull to close that up. And you'll notice it starts to form a circle as you pull it tighter. And once you have a small opening, you can start to stuff it. Put some stuffing in there. And I like to stuff mine pretty good. Fill it so that it really makes that nice big pom-pom. And just make sure you hang on to those strings as you're stuffing it. Pull it tighter and tighter. Oh, look at that pom. So when it's pulled all the way tight, you've got your nice big fluffy pom. I love it. So I'm just going to now tie these together. Now you also could then take your ends and weave it through the edges a couple times just to help secure it a little bit more if you'd like, just depending on what you're using for thread at this point. And an extra set of hands can be helpful at this point as well, just to make sure that that knot does get and stay as tight as possible. So this is where that tough upholstery thread that I have comes in handy, because you kind of have to pull pretty hard on it. And tie a couple knots in there. So you could then attach your needle again and just go through a couple spots in here just to help secure that or close up any small little hole that you might have in the top there. But nice fluffy pom. And one more tip for you is, if you're wanting to fluff your pom up, maybe it's not looking very fluffy, take a blow dryer to it and it will help fluff it up that much more. And then when you're ready to, you can take your hat, and I use a crochet hook for this. I find it works really well, but there's other methods to this as well. So I just take my crochet hook, I go in through the top, and I come out just off center. So I don't come up through there, I come up just off to the side, because when I pull it back through, I go on the other side. So hopefully that makes sense. So then I just grab my strings and pull them through. I've pulled them through. And then I'm going to go back up and out the other side. And I'm going to grab my other two strings. So I do my one string or two strands, whichever you have, half of it on one side, and then I pull the other half through the other side. I should have made that clear, sorry. Pull that through. So now on the inside of your hat, I'll show you here, I have strings coming out on this side of the center and strings coming out on this side of the center. And then you basically just take those strings And again, very tightly tie a knot. And this is where, if you wanted to use the buttons in here, you could tie it around a button. If you wanted to use the snap, you could tie it to one part of the snap and then attach the other part of the snap to this and just do a snap palm on and off. That's removable, which is super handy. But then you would just trim that string off and you have a nice, big, large, fluffy pom. So I hope that was helpful for you to make your own large pom-pom. Let me know if you try this tutorial out and make some pom-poms. You can tag me on social media. I would absolutely love to see it at $5 Crochet. And they look great on hats, beanies. Perfect time of year for that. But you can also make different sized ones and add them as accessories to anything else you'd like. So I hope that tutorial was helpful. If there are any questions or anything else in regards to this tutorial, please comment down below and I would be happy to answer those questions for you. Please like this video and be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you get notified on any upcoming videos that I have, including I would love to go live soon and just chat and crochet together. So if that is something that you would be interested in joining on my lives on and crocheting together and chatting back and forth, please let me know in the comments to know if that would be something you might be interested in. And I will definitely look at getting that done on a regular basis. Thanks so much again for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Happy crocheting.